Welcome to Shelton School's PSAT Podcast. I'm Joan Dodd, Testing Coordinator for Shelton Upper School. Part of my job responsibilities include supervising the administration of the PSAT. I'll narrate this podcast. I'd like to begin by describing the PSAT. The PSAT is a practice test for the SAT. It is given to our juniors once per year in mid-October. Schools choose to give the test on Wednesday or Saturday. Shelton gives the PSAT on Wednesday. You should have received a large Shelton envelope on or about December 20th. The envelope contains a 2-page letter explaining the test results and offering recommendations. The envelope also contains an actual PSAT test booklet and your student's score report. Here's an example of a PSAT score report fictitiously named I'm a Student. There are 4 sections: your scores, your skills, your answers, and next steps. Your student's test scores are in the Your Scores section at the top of the report in large bold numbers. There are 3 scores: critical reading, mathematics, and writing skills. Scores range from 20 to 80. Beneath each score are your student's percentile scores, reflecting the percentage of test takers who scored lower than your student. Using the example now shown on your screen, this student scored 50 on the critical reading section with a percentile score of 55. Your student's selection index is the sum of their critical reading, math, and writing skills score. The student report shown on your screen, it is not a real student, but a report provided for explanation purposes, has a selection index score of 146. In the Your Skills section, scores are categorized according to the type of question. Strengths and weaknesses for your students can be quickly identified by looking at the bar graphs. In the Your Answers section, a question-by-question analysis is shown. The correct answer, your student's answer, and the difficulty level, easy, medium, or hard, is shown for each question on the PSAT. Look closely in the Next Steps section. Your student has a unique access code allowing him or her to learn more about each PSAT question and answer. Once parents and students begin to understand the PSAT scores, they immediately want to know the SAT scores that can be expected given the PSAT results. While the PSAT scores for each section range from 20 to 80, the SAT scores for each section range from 200 to 800. You can quickly see the relationship between the PSAT scale and the SAT scale. To convert PSAT scores to SAT scores, first find your student's selection index score. Then simply place a 0 to the right. For example, the selection index score for I'm a Student is 146. The converted SAT score would be 1460. I simply placed a 0 to the right. It is then appropriate to add roughly 100 points, which allows for material learned since taking the PSAT, in class, with a tutor, or self-study. 1460 plus 100 equals 1560. This number would be a rough estimate of an SAT score for I'm a Student. Again, it is only an estimate. So far, we've explained the parts of the PSAT report, how to read the score report, and how to estimate a future SAT score. Now let's turn to the issue of test accommodations. Accommodations on the SAT test must be requested through Dr. Pierce's office. If your student's diagnostic evaluation is recent and sufficient, then he will have made the accommodation request. On the other hand, if your student's diagnostic evaluation is too old or not sufficient, then accommodations were not requested and will not be requested until a new and sufficient evaluation report is on file in his office. Numerous reminders are mailed and emailed to you, reminding you of what is needed and by when. Securing appropriate accommodations is not difficult if and when all the pieces are in place. Contact Dr. Pierce for more details and specifics. If you've been notified that your student's testing is insufficient or out of date, the optimum time to renew that psychoeducational testing is during the second semester of the sophomore year. By doing this, you will be able to use that diagnostic report to apply for accommodations for the ACT, the SAT, and also use it for college accommodations. Although not discussed here, the ACT serves the same purpose as the SAT. Each is a test used by colleges for entrance purposes. All colleges accept scores from either the SAT or ACT. There are a few subtle but significant differences between the tests. One test may be better suited than the other for your student. Contact Dr. Pierce for more information and specifics. For your information, the SAT is given 4 times a year at Shelton: August, October, November, and May. Likewise, the ACT is given 4 times a year at Shelton: September, October, February, and April. Again, contact Dr. Pierce's office for details about registration and administration of these important tests in the academic life of your student. Thank you for tuning in to the PSAT Podcast. This information and more is also available on the Shelton website. Click on Upper School and scroll down to College Testing. Our contact information is also listed on the screen. Please send us an email or give us a call. We're happy to help. Again, thanks for watching the PSAT Podcast.